WNBA just can't get out of their own way. A bunch of children, a bunch of victims, a bunch of activists, a bunch of incompetent nincompoops are running this league. Not only running this league, a bunch of
A wild mess is unfolding in the WNBA right now, and honestly, fans have every right to be mad. People are calling out the league, calling the players babied, calling the leadership clueless. And what set this whole thing off? The league just banned a hand gesture. Not a fight, not a scandal, a pointing gesture. Sophie Cunningham's now famous point, the one that blew up all over social media, has officially been shut down for merchandise use. Let that sink in for a second. In 2024, one of the biggest storylines in women's basketball wasn't a buzzer beater or a championship run. It was a simple point of the finger. Cunningham, the Phoenix Mercury guard, turned this move into her signature. Fans copied it. Kids at her camps lined up just to do the pose with her. It had turned into pure gold for the league. Real, organic hype that money can't usually buy. And then, out of nowhere, the Players Association pulled the plug on it.
Video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below and subscribe to the channel. That would mean so much to me. Every camper gets a photo with Sophie Cunningham. And yes, as you'd expect, they all want to do the signature point. I want to point with Sophie Cunningham. I want to do the pointing meme with Sophie Cunningham. She's a superstar. She's a sensation. She went viral.
Kids at Sophie Cunningham's camp weren't lining up for autographs or high fives. They all wanted one thing, to strike that pointing pose right beside her. And that says a lot. When kids start copying a player's signature move, that's not just a moment, that's a movement. That's how you hook the next generation of fans, through real, natural connection, not some forced marketing push. But then, things took a strange turn. On January 8th, 2025, Sports Insider Darren Rovell broke the story. And Rovell isn't just some random voice online stirring up drama. The man has close to 2 million followers, runs his own sports business outlet, CLCT Media, and spent years reporting for ESPN. When Rovell drops a story about league decisions, people pay attention because his sources run deep across every major league in the country.
And then the WNBA Players Association and their goofballs step right up. Darren Rovell, a highly respected sports business journalist, someone who's worked at ESPN, someone who has over 1 million followers on Twitter, a name that should be taken seriously, comes out and says the WNBA Players Association is currently prohibiting licensees from using the Sophie point, saying that it is derogatory. They're saying a point is...
Here's the wild part. The WNBA Players Association is calling Sophie Cunningham's pointing gesture derogatory. A pointing gesture. Let that sink in. This is the same group whose entire job is to help players make more money. And instead, they blocked a licensing deal tied to one of the season's most viral moments. Naturally, people didn't believe it at first. Everyone assumed it was fake, a joke, maybe some troll account making things up. But then Rovell came back with proof. He said he'd personally talked to someone at a major brand who showed him the actual rejection letter from the Players Association. This wasn't a rumor. This was a real decision that killed a real deal already in motion. And the timing makes it even crazier. The WNBA just wrapped up its biggest season ever, thanks largely to Caitlin Clark's arrival, along with rising stars like Angel Reese, Cameron Brink, and yes, Sophie Cunningham. This was the moment for the league to cash in. More merch, more brand deals, more proof that the WNBA is a serious business. Instead, right when companies wanted in, the Players Association slammed the door over a finger point. You've got to ask, why?
I went up them and I said, not only is it derogatory, but it just exudes white privilege. I'm literally shaking, folks. I am literally shaking from the derogatory nature of Sophie Cunningham point. You know what I think it is? I think it's the fact that Sophie Cunningham pointed at a black woman. That's the issue here. If Sophie Cunningham would have pointed at a white person, not a big deal. but she pointed at a black woman. Oh no! The horror! The outrage! And people can't...
However, the real issue is the context behind Sophie's pointing moment. She wasn't taunting anyone or celebrating an injury. She was simply showing confidence during a heated game. But there's another angle people can't ignore. Sophie is white, while the player she pointed at is black. Some believe the WNBA Players Association viewed the moment differently because of those racial dynamics. If that's true, it raises serious questions about how normal basketball moments are being judged. Sophie wasn't being racist. She was playing with emotion and personality, yet somehow, even that became controversial.
Story. It's very real. Just spoke to someone at a big company who showed me their rejection. Darren Ravel. People aren't... This is a real source right here. This is a real source. This isn't just a random Twitter person, 5605. Dude's got over 1.8 million followers. He's the founder of CLCT Media, which is a collectibles media company. He used to work at ESPN as a sports business journalist. He hasn't been. This is somebody who's curated multiple sources at the highest of levels around the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, MLS, you name it. This is a real guy right here. Okay? This is more of a source than any constable. Okay? This is more of a source than any WNBA source that you can think of. This guy puts them all to shame.
Here's the thing about credibility. You can't fake it, and you definitely can't buy it. That's exactly why this Sophie Cunningham story refuses to die down. When the news first broke, plenty of people rolled their eyes and called it fake. But then the reporter behind it, a guy with nearly 2 million followers and years of accurate sports business reporting under his belt, doubled down. He wasn't guessing. He said he personally spoke with someone at a major company who showed him the actual rejection letter from the WNBA Players Association. This wasn't a rumor floating around social media. This was documented, in writing, real. And that's what makes this whole situation so hard to swallow. This reporter has covered the NBA, the NFL, MLB, MLS, basically every major league you can name. His contacts include team executives, league officials, and corporate partners at the highest level. When he says a licensing deal got blocked, he's not repeating gossip. He's seen the paperwork. Once that sank in, the WNBA fanbase exploded, and not in a good way. Fans pointed out something painfully obvious. Official team accounts have posted actual violent moments. Hard fouls, physical fights, dangerous plays. None of that gets flagged or pulled down. But Sophie Cunningham pointing her finger. Suddenly, that's the line nobody's allowed to cross. The double standard couldn't be more obvious. One fan summed it up perfectly, joking that between constant controversies needing outside intervention, fake outrage over nothing, and now banning a simple point, the league just keeps handing out reasons to shake your head. And look, this isn't the first headache the league's leadership has dealt with. There have been multiple messy situations this year that needed outside help just to calm things down. This pointing ban is just the newest chapter in a book that keeps writing itself. Look, calling a hand gesture derogatory is almost impossible to take seriously. And that's the frustrating part, because outside of a couple of true breakout stars, this is exactly why so many people struggle to take the league seriously at all. It's less like a sports league and more like a soap opera some days. Here's what really stings, though. 2024 was supposed to be the league's turning point. Attention was at an all-time high, ratings were climbing, and it was almost entirely fueled by one transcendent rookie talent lighting up every arena she stepped into. Add in personalities like Sophie Cunningham, confident, likable, magnetic on camera, and you've got the exact formula every league dreams of, stars fans actually care about. And then, somehow, the league finds a way to trip over its own shoelaces. Every single time the momentum builds, someone in charge makes a call that leaves casual fans scratching their heads. Banning a pointing gesture isn't just a weird decision, it's a red flag. It shows a real disconnect from how sports marketing actually works. Fans don't fall in love with polished, corporate-approved athletes. They fall in love with personality, swagger, and moments that feel real. Sophie's point was exactly that. Just look at other leagues for comparison. Basketball's biggest stars have built entire brands around signature moves and celebrations. A shooter's cool-down gesture became iconic. A superstar tossing chalk into the air turned into a merchandising goldmine. Football spent years trying to shut down touchdown celebrations before finally realizing fans love them. Even hockey, usually the most buttoned up of the major sports, now lets players show some flair. Everyone's moving toward embracing personality. Everyone, except this league. Instead of leaning into the moments that make the sport fun and its players memorable, they're slapping labels like derogatory on a finger point and killing business deals before they even start. It's self-sabotage wrapped up and disguised as being socially responsible. Think about that for a second. A team page can post an actual physical altercation with zero consequences, but pointing at someone is where they draw the line. It doesn't add up. And through it all, Sophie Cunningham has been one of the best things going for the league. She's a fantastic ambassador for the sport. Honestly, the league seems to struggle with the spotlight in general. They get a wave of attention, and instead of riding it out, they somehow turn it into a mess. It's like they can't help but trip themselves up. And that ties into a bigger pattern that's honestly been the story of the whole 2024 season. This constant us against the world narrative. Instead of celebrating a historic breakout year, so much of the conversation got buried under complaints, perceived slights, and accusations of disrespect. Some players complained about coverage despite receiving more media attention than ever before. Others made comments about fans that stirred controversy. Certain situations got used as emotional leverage anytime someone questioned a league decision. This constant victim framing is dragging down what should be a feel-good growth story. Regular fans don't want lectures. They don't want to be told they're somehow in the wrong for just wanting to enjoy a basketball game. They want great athletes, real personalities, and exciting competition. But right now, engaging with this league sometimes feels like walking through a minefield of social and political landmines. Sophie's point wasn't political. It wasn't a statement. It was just a confident athlete having a moment during a game. The fact that it got banned shows exactly how far off track the priorities have gotten. The real question shouldn't be, could this possibly offend someone if you squint hard enough? It should simply be, will fans enjoy this? And once you start asking the wrong question, literally everything starts looking problematic. People have brought up old school comparisons too, like the legendary rivalry gestures from basketball history, genuinely crude, intentionally disrespectful moves that leagues rightfully kept off official merchandise. But there's a massive difference. Those were designed to taunt. Sophie's point wasn't remotely close to that level. Yet somehow, they're being treated the exact same way. This decision says a lot about the insecurity running through the top of this league. They're so terrified of controversy, so worried about someone somewhere being upset, that they're actively stopping their own players from building a personal brand. Sophie should be able to sell merchandise featuring her signature move. Kids who love that moment should be able to grab a t-shirt or a foam finger to remember it by. That's literally how every successful sports league operates. But here, the Players Association said no. And in doing so, they cost their own player money, cost the league potential revenue, and sent a chilling message to every other athlete. Tone it down, because your personality might get labeled a problem. And the business side of this is honestly staggering. Real companies were ready to license this gesture. That means they'd already done their research, seen the demand, and were prepared to invest. These are exactly the kind of corporate partnerships a financially struggling league desperately needs. Turning away willing partners over a hand gesture isn't caution. It's bad business, plain and simple. Fans caught on to the irony immediately. Some joked they'd now buy unofficial fan-made merchandise just because the league refused to sell the real thing. That's the opposite of smart business. When people start hunting for bootleg products because you banned the official version, that's a failure, not a win. The league could have been collecting licensing money on every single item sold. Instead, outside sellers get to cash in while the league gets nothing. And that's really the whole pattern here, isn't it? This isn't a one-off mistake. It's part of a much bigger trend that's defined this entire breakout season. A series of decisions that seem almost designed to alienate casual fans and shut off potential revenue. Every time there's a chance to grow, to build momentum, to bring in new supporters, something happens that undercuts it. This pointing ban is just the latest example in a long list. Sophie Cunningham deserves better. She's been engaging, accessible, and full of genuine passion for the game. Kids adore her. That's precious. That's exactly the kind of connection that builds lifelong fans. And instead of amplifying that, the people in charge shut it down. The timing makes it sting even more, considering the league just locked in a massive new media deal that kicks in soon. This was the moment to show corporate partners that the growth is real, that last year wasn't a fluke, that this league means business. Instead, they sent the opposite message at the worst possible time. So here's the real question. Who exactly is this protecting? Because it's clearly not the player herself. If you're tired of watching good moments get killed by bad decisions, you already know how frustrating this story is. Drop your take in the comments. Do you think this ban ever gets reversed? And if you want more honest breakdowns like this one, make sure you're subscribed, because stories like this are far from over.